Train the dog. Dogs can tell what's happening around them really well. Sometimes, people forget how to do this natural thing. We can understand others better by noticing how they act and feel without talking. Dogs don't stay mad at each other. They fix problems quickly and move on. If we did that too, the world would be better. Keeping bad feelings makes them worse and stops us from moving forward. Train is a Chesapeake Bay Retriever rescue who traded in a harsh life of abuse for one as a drug detection dog. It seemed like a perfect fit. However, Train struggled to find his place at the training academy. He was far more interested in being a dog than a police canine. He failed out of narcotics school because he was too energetic. He was like a bull in a china closet. But Train still had one heck of a nose on him, one that Karen DeMatteo, a conservation biologist, wasn't ready to see go to waste. Karen was looking to gather a team of dogs for a research project in the Argentine province of Misiones. She knew that with a sniffer like Train on her side, she'd surely find what she was looking for. Scat, or more commonly known as poop, actually plays a major role in the work of conservation biologists. Using droppings, researchers can gather valuable information about an animal, including their species, sex, and living environment. Everybody leaves poop behind in the forest, and you can figure out which habitats they like and which habitats they avoid. Karen and her team were looking to pinpoint the habitats of endangered animals such as jaguars and oncillas. However, this task is not an easy one if you can't track down these creatures in the first place. That's where Train came in. Karen hoped that the former drug dog in training could use his highly sensitive nose to pick up scat scents and lead them to the elusive animals. Although Train's excitability had hampered him at the academy, he proved that he was more than capable of excelling at his new job. Not only was he quick to pick up the scents of the animals, but his high energy also helped them collect results at record-breaking speed. The group spent the next year tracking animals through the Argentine wilderness, with Train always happily bounding along at the head of the pack. By the time this first collection effort had come to a close, Train and his incredible nose had covered over 600 miles of forest, an incredible achievement. Karen and her team used the data collected from the scat to pinpoint which forest areas should be prioritized in their conservation efforts. They could also determine if any of the animals were being affected by humans encroaching upon the land. In the past, conservationists like Karen employed cameras and sensors to photograph and track animals. However, this method proved inefficient as the creatures needed to actually pass in front of the cameras for researchers to document them. These cameras also proved to be a huge deterrent for the Argentine farmers whose land some of the animals lived on. Many of these landowners were hesitant to allow camera traps on the property, fearing that their privacy and livelihood were at risk. But with Train and a colleague named April in tow, the farmers were much more receptive to allowing Karen and her team onto the land. After all, who wouldn't want to watch two adorable pups frolic and play? Gavel the adorable police dog. Meet the adorable German Shepherd puppy, an Australian resident Gavel. At just 6 weeks old, he caught the eyes of the Queensland police as they saw great potential in the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed pup. They had big plans for him. Little Gavel was determined to be granted acceptance into the Queensland Dog Squad, as he wanted to follow in the footsteps of his family members. He had a 16-month training program ahead of him, and he was ready to track down some bad guys. Not only was Gavel hoping to make the force proud, but he also wanted to make his foster handlers proud. There were more than just a few pounds on his pup's shoulders, as Gavel had people counting on him. The officers were confident he had the right stuff for the lawful job. Sometimes life doesn't go the way we want. Gavel was confident, with no nervous tendencies, and showed a willingness to retrieve a prey drive ball. This drive can be motivated by food or reward. By this point, it seemed that Gavel was going to be a star student, don't you think? Before he started his training, though, he made his highly anticipated debut to the public in 2016. He accompanied Governor Paul de Jersey and his wife at a function dedicated to honoring the Queen's 90th birthday. It was a big day for little Gavel as he met an aggregation of important human officials such as politicians, judges, business and community leaders, as well as former governors. One of these bigwigs in particular took a liking to Gavel. Former governor married Margaret Lennon Ford, who couldn't keep her hands off the warm Gavel, which is no surprise, considering she owned many German Shepherds as a Fernburg resident. But Gavel's journey with important government people was just starting. Usually, police puppies live with the police officer while they learn, But Gavel was different. He went to live with Governor Jersey and his wife at the government house. The governor showed Gavel around and introduced him to new people because his training was going to start soon. During this time, Gavel showed his gentle side. He took breaks, played with toys, and walked among the flowers. Sometimes, he got so lost in his own world that people wondered if he could do well in training. The real training started with months of learning to be social and obey commands. It was tough for the playful puppy because he had a lot of energy and still woke up at night. But no one gave up on Gavel because they believed he would grow up soon. As the months went by, that maturity milestone seemed further and further away from his tiny paws. Gavel never rounded that monumental bend. It was a tough decision, but in February 2017, the Queensland Police officially discharged innocent Gavel from his training with graduation just 6 months away. They said that Gavel did not display the necessary aptitude for life on the front line. It was a huge shock to everyone who fell in love with the adorable pooch, but fighting crime just wasn't in the cards for him. Subsequently, the question that haunted nearly everyone down under was, what was the fate of Gavel? However, being the good-looking service dog that he is, he didn't have to spend a lot of time standing in line with the unemployed. When Governor Paul DeJersey heard that the cute dog's training was canceled because of his friendliness, he stepped in and officially adopted the pooch. The governor allowed Gavel to live like a king. Could it be that he was paired with Governor Paul DeJersey for a reason? Apparently, Gavel's true calling was closer than he thought. Gavel had just landed an even better role for himself. All he had to do was be his usual social and charming self as he became the official vice-regal working dog. The Regal family knew he was destined for a more sociable and compassionate position, one that didn't involve sniffing out the bad guys. Gavel has since outgrown 4 ceremonial coats and undergone a career change, which in turn brought untold joy to the lives of the governor, his staff, and the thousands of Queenslanders who have since visited the estate. Gavel still has some important daily duties to conquer in his role, like being a gracious host to guests and entertaining tour groups that attend the government house. He wears a specially made government house coat with the governor's personal standard, the St. Edward's crown, and the Brova, the official bird emblem of Queensland, all embroidered onto it. In case you doubt the legitimacy of Gavel's role in Australia's government house, he even had to sign a contract. It is still a legal process after all. The pint-sized regal mongrel adores the outdoors, and sometimes they'll even help the government house's horticulture team with their grueling yard work. Though his version of help generally consists of emotional support, the horticultural team deeply appreciates his assistance. Gavel tried one job, failed, and found a new one he's great at. Many dogs do this too. He needed a chance to be himself and show his love. Dogs worldwide help in law enforcement using their strong sense of smell. They find illegal stuff in people, but not every dog can do this job. It's like they have to act more like humans, which is hard. Gavel got a job to welcome visitors and go to fancy events, and he did great. Good job, Gavel.